Welcome to another episode of the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Today with me, Geoff Stamp. He is a vegan travel agent with a new project on its way. He will be traveling to the USA, traveling all states, vegan friendly and not so vegan friendly. Stick around. I'd like to introduce him to you. Hi, Geoff.
Hi, Nancy. How are you doing?
Okay. Paris in the morning. I love it.
In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening.
Every time.
Paris is a very romantic city, very beautiful. I am actually from the UK. Okay. I'm from England. I moved to Paris 20 years ago. And the funny thing is, people ask me, well, why? Why did you go and live in France? As if it was like a punishment for something. Were you transferred there? Were you forced to go there? And, I'm saying, no, I just totally love the whole of France. And in particular, compared to London, which is where I was before, the cost of living is less. It's more easy to live centrally in Paris. The transport system is really good. They have, good culture, museums, everything they've got is in Paris.
And now my question is, how did you become vegan or on your vegan journey?
Yeah, wow. Well, my vegan journey started 45 years ago at the age of 16. So you can do the calculation. I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy now. And at the time, it was like unheard of. People would ask, what's that? What do you mean? They wouldn't ask why. They say, what do you mean you don't eat vegetables? What are you talking about? You only eat vegetables. And I'm saying, well, yeah. And the funny thing was, they said, well, then the second question was why? And they were like genuinely just interested. What is all this about? And I would say, well, I'm against, factory farming. I don't think it's right. And almost every single time they would say, yes, you're right. I agree with you. You're totally right. And the funny thing was, I had zero hostility from anybody. It was a different period, a different time. We were not a threat. We were just loonies, and they would think, yeah, but so many, and it was interesting to see how the movement has, evolved. And I always laugh at these. I meet some guy now, especially in France, who of course are very, carnivorous culture. It's in their the hunting, and it's all in their culture, and cuisine, of course. They like to really torture the animals for extra flavor. And so now I get some young girl in France who's lecturing me about how she's been vegan for 2 years, and how really I should, I should pay more attention. So that's me, 45 years. And I started off, more vegetarian. In the day, soya yogurt was truly disgusting. I had plastic shoes, they were killing me. And I saw, the introduction of all this new stuff. And today it's so easy, just so simple. And it's like also, in my day, the science was not in. So when my child was born, I went back to being more vegetarian. I was always like a little bit, I was never kind of strictly, I was always strictly, vegetarian and more or less vegan. But for my child, I think, well, the science is not in, I won't take any chances. But my child my daughter is 23. She's never tasted meat in her life. So, I would, instead of giving her sweeties, I would give her an apple or an orange. It tastes so much better. And she's still alive. I'm still alive. So we're all doing good.
So you haven't died from protein deficiency, huh?
No, funnily enough, I haven't. And what I'm saying is the science, I told my mother when I was 16, and she thought about it for a while and said, well, you're going to die. And at the time it was, the studies were not conclusive. Well, today, the studies are showing you live 8 years longer. There's this, and COVID is nothing compared to heart disease kills 17 million people every year. Totally avoidable. In third world countries where we visit, how much heart disease, how many heart attacks there are? 0, none. So it's totally avoidable. cancer has increased over the last 30 years, which is a tragedy due to pollution, processed foods, all this sort of stuff. Diabetes kills, 1.5 million people every year. There are avoidable illnesses. So already the whole issue of, you're not going to live as long or as well and whatever, have finally, after, 40-year-long conclusive high trial definition, studies, there's no doubt about it now. So that's already one issue we can have on our side. The second one is the climate, obviously. That again, well and truly confirmed. Then your health, the climate, the animals. There's no single reason not to move towards a more plant-based diet today. I mean, it's, and in fact, I've got to the point now where veganism and plant-based, it's a detail. It's just a small detail, and it's a much wider issue of compassion generally. Living within society, the Black Lives Matter, looking at homeless people. The whole issue is far, far wider. And veganism, well, to my mind, it's a complete no-brainer, and I don't even think about it anymore.
True. Now, I'm very excited about your project, Vegan on the Map. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, we're going to be traveling around the world, having a little bit of fun, saving some animals, cooking some meals, meeting some kids along the way, and things like this. It started out, 4 years ago, really typically like all the other travel agencies who were starting up, and there's a few of them. They tend to be quite high priced. They only run once a year, so they've got the overheads. And I started that way, and I started to think, okay, I want to do something a little bit different and have a secondary option, which is more an eco-cheapo version, whereby we appeal to a younger generation, and we look at digital nomads, slow travel for people who have more time but less money. They can travel for longer. So because we're getting more people, because it's more affordable, they're traveling for longer, it comes out at the same. All we need to do is cover our costs. We're not out to make a big empire or anything like this. We're more about helping promote the animal sanctuaries, wildlife conservation projects. We also feed free meals to kids. We're involved in the Food for Life global program. So around about a year or so ago, I launched this new project, which is what I call the Vegan Business Camp. Now, that is much more aimed at entrepreneurs and people who want to learn along the way, doing culinary workshops, all this sort of stuff. And just the response was amazing. I had like hundreds of people interested, whereas before I was getting, a trickle of people. Now I'm getting, hundreds of people. So that is happening in Thailand initially. That's the big kickoff point. Thailand is going to be our base for Southeast Asia. So we're creating our company there. We've got links with the businesses, the culinary schools, the restaurants, the elephant sanctuaries. We're doing sponsorships with things like there's a dog food, vegan dog food industry there who we're teaming up with. So Thailand is going to be our base, where we'll be based for like three months for the initial project. Then that kicks off our route, which is going to basically tour for 6 months. Now, this is a hop-on, hop-off tour. So come for any part of it. Obviously, I'm not expecting everyone to roll up. But what I am saying to people is, I am going whatever happens, okay? So it's all guaranteed departures. We're definitely going. And if you want to stay, if you want to do more like the business, run your, if you're an entrepreneur, you have some type of side hustle or main business, which you can work online. come down and say, for example, you've got a podcast or a mini podcast or a magazine you run from Albuquerque, for example. You can just as easily run your magazine from Thailand, as long as you have key things, internet connection. So this is the latest project, which has really just taken off really big time. I've got around about 1,000 people now interested. Now I'm wandering on in different directions. So the tour is gonna. The idea is you have a visa for 3 months in Thailand. So then you might think, oh, we're in Thailand. Let's pop over to Laos. Laos, where is really excellent. And then from Laos, Vietnam is just next door. It's a bus ride away. Then we go to Taiwan. Then we end up in Japan, just in time for the cherry blossoms in springtime. That's our guaranteed route. We're going to 6 countries, followed by Philippines. But then if enough people say to us, hey, I want to go to China. And what we do is we do Zoom calls. So it's like an adventure. It's not one of these fixed things as well, whereby we're saying, look, we're going to go to here, 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 and here. And, this is the agenda and you like it or lump it. It's going to be, well, look, our core base is here. If you let us know what you want to do. If you want to go to China, I personally am will go where the wind blows me. I've been to most of these places. We were in China last year and it is out of this world. You really must go to China. And I would say that to anybody in America. Go to China. Forget all the prejudices. Forget all that the media have told you and rammed down your head about how China is the devil. Because we're talking about the Chinese people, not necessarily the Chinese, authorities. But there's a massive Buddhist element in the society there, across all Southeast Asia, which really, these are transformative voyages. These are voyages which transform your life. They really make you feel differently. You come back, and I've been doing this for 40 years, and traveling around the world. And the first time I went to Vietnam, was not long after the war, and the country was rebuilding itself. I was transformed by that experience. Well, last year I was in China, and I was transformed by the people there as well. Gentle.
Mm-hmm. It just sounds so wonderful. And I'm going to have information on the website and all the media about Vegan on the Map, and information how to get in touch with you. If anybody wants to support, come along. And definitely, I look forward to seeing you when you get to New Mexico.
We'll definitely be there, Nancy. And you are our top spot for New Mexico.
And thank you so much for being on the program. I surely appreciate you and everything you do.
Okay, Nancy.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Please remember to follow our Facebook page, like us too. Check out our blog, and don't miss an episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Live vegan.